By now, Jesus was pretty famous, and people were following him everywhere. They'd travelled from miles and miles away, on foot too. Imagine the smell, just to get a glimpse of him. One day, he sat down to tell them a story. A farmer went out to scatter some seeds. He threw them far and wide. They went everywhere. Some landed on the path and gave the birds a tasty snack. Some landed on rocky ground and then died because they couldn't get to any water. Some landed among nasty prickly weeds that strangled the seeds to death as they grew. But some landed on lovely brown soil and grew up to be tall and strong. The people who were listening didn't understand what Jesus was talking about. They were quite confused. What do you think he was saying? So then Jesus said, "The seeds are like the things that God says. Sometimes people hear what God says, but then the devil comes along and makes them forget or stops them believing."
Sometimes people hear what God says and they like it, but they don't let it make a difference to their lives. And if things get difficult for them, they don't listen to God anymore. Sometimes people hear what God says and they want to believe it, but they're too worried about money, happiness and fame, and so there's no space left for God in their lives. But sometimes people hear what God says and live their lives by it. They work hard to learn more and grow closer to Him. Then Jesus told a story about a lamp, a jar, and a bed. Why would you light a lamp in a dark room and then hide it in a jar or sneak it under your bed? That would be stupid, wouldn't it? You'd put it on a stand or hold it up high so that everyone who came in would be able to see it. You see, you can't hide anything from God. He knows everything. He even knows what you're thinking right now. Listen carefully to what He says and you'll do well. Then Mary, Jesus' mum, turned up with a few of his brothers. But she couldn't get anywhere near him because of all the swarming people. Annoying. Eventually, Jesus heard that they were trying to get to see him. But he said something rather odd.
My family is made up of people who listen to what God says and put it into practice. What do you think he's on about? People were quite often confused by some of the things Jesus said. Is he saying that family isn't really important at all? Or is he saying that family is really important? Or is he saying that everyone is his family if they love God? A few days later, Jesus decided he wanted to cross Lake Galilee, and since quite a few of his mates had been fishermen, they didn't mind at all. But they'd not been in the boat for a very long time when Jesus decided to take a nap. While Jesus was snoozing, everything went dark. The wind was howling and the boat started to fill with water. Who sleeps through a storm like that? His mates shook him awake. We're going to die! Help! Oi, Jesus, wake up! Jesus opened his eyes, stretched, stood up. He looked around at the storm, and then he said, "Stop. Waves, stop. Wind." And then he sat back down again, as the waves and the wind calmed. Everyone stared at Jesus, and he stared back. And then he said, "Haven't you got any faith?" He just told the wind and the water to stop, they said to one another. And they did what he said. Hey guys, just another quick message to remind you that Sunday School has shifted from 11:30 on Zoom to 10 o'clock on Zoom. So you've got a couple of minutes now to get yourselves by the laptop, to log in and to catch up with one another and explore the story a little bit more. Okay, great. Bye-bye. Bye.